What a pleasure to be here together. What a collective journey. I very much, as I said, I'm kind of biased because I kind of like this stuff. I like psychedelics and I like conferences and I like horizons, so I feel I lack objectivity, but what a privilege to be here together and learn from each other. And I always feel like I'm in a kind of Disneyland of knowledge and fun, and like if you were attending this park and you can play on all the toys and there's no lines and you're just out there the whole time having fun, learning and being together with incredible people, and how time is condensed and every interaction you learn something and you pass only a few days and it feels like several weeks. And we are in the final moments, and we all know that producing conferences is like a castle in the sand, because you have a group of people frequently work as much as 6 months or 1 year, all kinds of things to bring everybody together, and tomorrow it's gone. And it's hard to know what stays, but so many of us have been influenced by these conferences, and they are so important in our community and so hard to do, so much work and so underfunded. So I want to, again, big applause for Kevin and his team. We all suffered when we couldn't come last October to New York, and I'm so happy it was postponed. Spring in Manhattan, beautiful, last code, and so happy to be here. And just want to invite all of you to share one final thought and wrap it up.
I didn't plan this. Is this working? Hello? Hello. I really want to see less exceptionalism of some substances over another. I think that they all can be used in any of the access pathways safely, and I hope we see more research and normalization and destigmatization and access and safety for all substances as we choose with informed consent.
I want to say that this is, sometimes I have a lot of criticism about this field, but I also want to say that this kind of gathering is already making a difference. We are already discussing, and when we are discussing, sometimes people say, what should we do to make a difference? If we are talking about, we are already making a difference. And talking about making a difference, inspired by Bia Labate, I also want to invite you to be involved with this initiative. So if you want to support psychedelic parents, you can be in touch with us. You can donate. You can be part of Chacruna community. And I hope we can be together soon. And I hope also that we can realize that giving back to indigenous people is not a matter of talking about indigenous people and how important these traditions are. It's also to take our own responsibility and see that we have a duty. We are connected to ancestral knowledge.
I think I already said earlier, I'd like to see us re-indigenize our thoughts, our way of being, and our world. And like the incredibly inspiring Ripples project and study, I want to see us be able to sit with that collective pain and trauma and face our darkness so that we can move through and find our light. And I think that's really one of the most powerful things about these medicines, is how they help us do that and to find our common humanity, to break the system of oppression and to find our liberation. Be sure to follow the Colorado Tribal Working Group. Our meetings are public. Thanks for reminding me about that.
Oh gosh. I've had this sort of recurring thought. I was in conversation a few days ago with some folks that were, it was a really interesting conversation, and at some point it sort of became like, well, how do we, prevent people from sort of like going about this the wrong way, and I know there's a lot of fear around sort of the medical model and how that could sort of subvert or corrupt this process, and then on the other side, there's fears of the not medical model and like all the risks that come with that. And I've sort of I have this thought, I don't think our goal here is to protect people from themselves. Ultimately, we're all going to be making choices, whether it's legally or illegally. But really the question that I am asking myself every day is just, what do we want to create? What is possible? And how can we be a part of shaping this towards something that is in alignment with these values of change, liberation, justice, integrity, care. And so it's just, such a pleasure and honor to be here with all of you who I see that kind of manifesting in so many different ways and getting these ideas for what's possible. So I'm very excited with my role with the Healing Advocacy Fund is thinking about how can we take what we're learning in Oregon and Colorado and help shape the process moving forward. And I just want to, thank you all again and thank the organizers for all of the learning that is embodied here.
I'm going to go first because I'm scared.
I was asked to remind we have to keep it short, please.
Oh, I just said I was going to quickly take liberties to go first because I don't want to follow you after your talk earlier. That sounds horrible. I'm just going to take a second I feel compelled to tie sort of what I've learned today back to the broader war on drugs. It's probably also because I'm sitting right here in front of my mentor, Ethan Nadelman, 20 feet in front of me. Pay attention. And that's the same prohibitions and barriers and punishments that we're talking about in this context derive from the same racism, anti-science, anti-intellectual origins of the war on drugs more broadly. They apply to all substances. People come from different cultures. They have different bodies. They use drugs in different ways. And all the things that we need for liberation for parents, protections for parents, for culture, for research apply to everything. So I hope we liberate a piece of it here and then it moves to transform a broader liberation related to drugs.
So I recently restarted a gratitude practice for like the 13th time, and I'm just going to do it on stage. And that's my thought for the day, which is if you ever go to like a restaurant and you see like a dish come out and it's like really good, but sometimes I like think of all the work that goes into that dish, of like how many different hands had to go make it and all that. And I look at a conference like this and it's going really well, it's seamless, and just and think of all the work that went into putting something together like this, and then take that thought and when I'm arguing a case, think of how many hours I had to spend to prepare for that 1 hour argument, and just everyone on stage, everyone here is doing fantastic things, and what you never see is all the work that goes into doing that. Whether it's even the psychedelic experience itself, there's the saying, after the ecstasy comes the laundry. Life is work, and that's the enjoyable part about it, and just think about that.
I'm just really humbled to be on stage here beside some frankly incredible people. I think some of the things I've heard here today will stay with me for a really long time. And, we're talking about this idea of psychedelic exceptionalism, and I don't know if psychedelics are exceptional, but frankly, some of the people who work in this space and on stage here with me are incredible. And I think sometimes we lose sight of the psychedelics are doing a thing, but really it's the people making the change. And that's what I'm coming away with today.
I think they are exceptional, And we got a lot of love and feedback from our talk. And I want to respond to one of the feedbacks that people were really enjoyed the format of the storytelling. And I just want to say that for me, kind of moving between format and also moving between disciplines in research is a way to stay loyal to my experience and not to get sucked too much to frameworks and theories and disciplines and languages. And it's a way for me to stay loyal to the essence and the exceptional passion that I have to the thing and try to communicate it in a certain way. And I think as the field grows more and more mainstream and we get sucked into more frameworks and languages and disciplines, it's just a good thing to pay attention, each individual here, how they communicate based on their own also passion within it, and not just based on the languages that now need to be used in order to communicate it.
The last thoughts that stay with me is that I'm deeply grateful for this community again that dives into those questions and holds the space for those conversations. And yeah, kudos for all the hard work, putting up a conference and maintaining a community that's passionate around this theme. And the call to you guys to seek out maybe allies, partners in different places where specifically access and resources not available. Share what you have gained so far of knowledge as power. It is power. Because, yeah, we will need it to cross borders as we do other things that cross borders.
And again, lots of gratitude and appreciation for everyone that put this conference together, but also all of you who are still here in the very last moments of the conference. And I think it's important to just remember the community that we build along the way. Sometimes, I speak to groups that aren't familiar with psychedelics, and sometimes that's a difficult conversation, right? Getting people acquainted with this sometimes terrifying new policy area, right? And I think it's important to remember that people that are working in psychedelics, we need to make sure that we continue growing together and evolving and use this work to approach our own fear, and instead of having fear, really looking at things with curiosity and trying to learn from each other as we move forward. And what we want to achieve through psychedelic opportunities for people around the world, that we're modeling the behaviors that we think are so important to the values of our work.
As very much a newcomer, I want to express deepest gratitude to everyone whose sacrificed knowledge and acquired wisdom has enabled me to use a brief stint within the world of officialdom to give some amplification to all that has been done well before me. I also want to express what a privilege it has been to be in the company of and to serve along other emancipationists who seek to illuminate, liberate, and celebrate the spiritual significance of our human kin who labor and suffer in the darkness of disconnection of our common divinity. It's been a pleasure to be with you, and thank you.
I want to share one final thought from me too. I come from the world of ayahuasca, as some of you know. I made a joke that I was fanatical about ayahuasca. Now I'm not more. I'm fanatical about chacruna. I don't know if it makes sense. But anyway, in the world of ayahuasca, we say, you can have beautiful visions or you can have incredible experiences and see other worlds and have encounters. But then you have to go back and do what people call homework. Integration. And I think it's the same for these conferences. We learn a lot, we meet a lot of people, we have a lot of ideas, and the invitation is now that you hold all of this that you learned and all of these encounters and all of this cards that you got and all of these hallway conversations and ask yourself, what am I gonna do? And how am I gonna contribute to this movement? And how can I serve and not, complain and be unhappy about what's lacking, but how can we make a difference? Thank you.
And thank you, Bia. So I want to thank all of you for your patience and grace as we put these things together. I, of course, want to thank the team, all of the people who are behind the inboxes and meetings and systems and platforms and phone calls and text messages, who operate the machine.
Slack.
I don't know that I'm thanking anyone for Slack messages anytime soon. And yet, it does take a lot of work to put these moments together. It is not unlike the psychedelic experience itself. You're going to get out of it what you put into it, not just in that moment, but as Bia put it, in the time afterwards. I, of course, want to thank all of our speakers, particularly those who had to do more than change trains to get here, although I will note some of the people who have to change trains complain about it more than the people who had to change multiple airports. But I am grateful to all of the speakers here who take time out of their already phenomenally busy lives with lots of responsibility and pressure, not just in their work, but in their homes, to make the time and effort to come here to be in 3 dimensions with us. And I want to thank all of you once again out there. And with that, you have passed the acid test, and I hereby declare the 16th Horizons Conference in New York City to be concluded. Thank you all.